And we are live.
Hello!
Let's not forget to unmute our mics, guys. And if you guys in the chat can hear us okay, do let us know. But without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed that dainty little tune we played for the introduction. And you might notice as well today that there's a certain someone missing from the stream today. And unfortunately, Ken couldn't be here with us today. So
let's have some F's in the chat, guys.
Yeah, so I've decided to just dig through the bottom of the barrel to find these two people.
Some replacements.
Yes. Yes.
You had to get two of us to try and make up for the fantastic man that Ken is. We are both half the men he is.
Not even that. Both of you guys combined aren't even half the men that Ken is. But alas, we have to make do. So yes, so for the introduction, welcome back to Drawing Table Podcast, where we have chill and casual conversations about art and of course about creating it as well. And I'm your host for today, Jourdan Tuffan. So since the special episode that we were talking about last week, or on the last podcast, is taking us a little bit longer to prepare, we've just decided to do a chill session today to tide over the cravings that some of you guys have for the podcast. And also, just having two of these great guests back on today. And just for a chill and casual conversation while we sketch. And as you guys probably can see, they have... Actually, you guys can't see because I've been soloing my screen, which I will unsolo right now.
Yes, let us
there
free.
We go. Oh my god. I've been... Alright, let me also increase...
And the gracious Jourdan.
Well. I think some people are... It's a little too soft. So give me one moment. Birdie.
Stretch.
I tried actually adding in some filters just to try to make it to not make it pop too much. But yes, as you guys can see, Thomas and Axel have some personal work going on the screen. And while I try to fix the sound, why don't you two just talk about what you guys are doing?
Axel, you're first. You're up.
But in the meantime, Thomas, have you told the chat about what you're working on?
I am painting a big dragon, but it's not a design of my own necessarily because
not just
it's
any
from
big dragon I see. I mean, it's from...
Yes. How to Train Your Dragon.
Yes.
Competition entry for the DeviantArt contest. Which,
so
if you're
what's the
feeling
prizes for this one, man?
money, big stacks of cash. First prize is like $4,000 or something. Pretty nice.
I mean, that is pretty good if you think about it.
If I consider the time I spend on a painting. I mean, this is assuming in a hypothetical world where I win it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
true.
It's good. It's a very good day rate.
Exactly. I mean, it's actually, if you do win it, it's pretty much the equivalent of a couple of freelance gigs anyway.
Yeah. Because I think overall I've spent close to 23 hours painting this so far.
That's really not too long at all, man.
What, 3 days of work? 3 or 4 days of work?
And you've just been working on it kind of on and off. Really.
$1,000 a day. It's not bad.
So what motivates you, man, to join all of these contests? I mean, I've asked you this before, but I think you're known as like the serial contest
professional
joiner.
Contest enterer.
Yes. I don't think I've met anyone that's joined so many different kinds of contests. Like every once in a while, I see people, joining maybe an Artstation challenge, something a little bit more prolific. But you're just like all over the place, man, with your grubby mitts.
trying to steal all that money part. I mean, the main thing is that I get stuff done because there's deadlines to meet. So it solves the problem of not knowing what to paint. Mm-hmm. It solves the problem of not knowing when to finish. And yeah, if I start, then I have to finish something. Because if it's just a personal piece, then I might go, well, you know, I don't necessarily want to show it now. Maybe I'll come back to it later, finish it off when I'm more confident or whatever.
I mean, it doesn't seem like you struggle too much though with finding an idea to do for personal pieces, since your portfolio a while back, I mean, like before you joined Atom Pop was mostly personal work, I would think. Yeah,
I mean, at that point, again, I was really kind of imitating artists to learn. So I was using, I guess really the ideas came from elsewhere. I just put my own spin on them to some extent.
Can they hear me now? Or,
yeah, can you guys hear Axel right now?
I've changed a little bit, but I'm still not sure.
Just double checking, because you know, as much as we can keep the conversation going with Thomas and I think it'll just be a shame not to have Axel join in on the conversation as well.
You want Axel's smooth
Oh
voice?
yes, Latte Milky says yes, I can hear Axel, but it's too soft.
Yeah,
I guess.
I can work with that. Hello guys, how's it going?
Awesome, and welcome Mario. Good to have you here.
Mario, what's up?
Hey.
And I believe he's one of the people that's been on your streams, right, Thomas?
Yes, indeed.
So tell me a little bit more about that, man. Like you've been streaming quite a bit recently, right?
Every day.
That is amazing.
Apart from yesterday. Gotta get an affiliate.
That's pretty crazy, man. Like for me, just doing these podcasts once every few weeks can be quite demanding, I guess.
So this is the thing. I was always sort of amazed at essentially the work that went into preparing podcasts and things, because they have to be, you know, you're collaborating between multiple people.
Pretty much, I mean.
And that just makes everything so much more difficult.
I mean, Jourdan, you worked quite a lot to get this thing going. While I assume Thomas just starts the stream and starts painting. So.
Well, that's it. Because the thing I really like about streaming is that you can just start whenever you have some time.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm going to do some personal work.
Yeah.
Might as well stream it.
I mean, don't you feel, in a way, pressure when you're streaming? Because for me,
yes, a bit.
When I do stream something, I at least have that anxiety, you know. What if I mess up and people just spend a few hours seeing me fixing my mistakes rather than having like a steady progress going on, you know?
So through the first day, I didn't like advertise it. I didn't link my stream anywhere until I had like a decent sketch of this painting. So I was live, but of course no one was discovering it because I hadn't put it anywhere, and it was just it wasn't going to pop up on like Twitch browse or whatever. So you know, I did actually wait until I had something respectable to show, and then I posted it around, because at that point a lot of the pressure was off. It was like, I'm confident my ability to just add detail and fix everything up.
Yeah. In a way, you can say that's like clickbait. You know, when people browse through like the list of Twitch channels for art, they see something impressive, they're like, oh, I'm going to check this out. But whereas if you have like really rough black sketches, people are going to probably think it's like chicken scratch, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this also just means that if I draw anyone in, like, you know, I post it on Artstation or something, people click through the link, and unless they see something impressive, they're just gonna be like, okay, cool, whatever. Maybe I'll come back, maybe not.
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty smart way to go about it, actually.
So certainly at the very beginning, it was the way to catch the
audience.
Do you
post it on like Artstation, your blog, or is it a proper?
Yeah, I just posted as a blog.
Because I hadn't actually tried out the blog function of Artstation yet, so might be a nice.
I don't know whether you have to be a pro member. You may have to be a pro member. I can't remember.
Oh, yes, you have to be a pro member on Artstation in order to post.
Because that's the thing I hadn't realized I had blog.
Yeah, that.
I got pro from the. If Feudal Japan Challenge. So.
Oh, and by the way, for those of you in the chat right now, we are opening this whole chill session to Q&A. So if you have any questions for any of us, feel free to just leave them, and perhaps that will spark for some interesting conversation.
Yes.
That'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, perks of competitions, you win stuff. I have Artstation PRO, which I would never have gone up my way to buy myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me it kind of feels like a waste of money sometimes, to get like these pro memberships. But I might be wrong.
Yeah.
Perhaps there are benefits that I don't see.
I mean, there's certain benefits to the Artstation Pro. One thing I know is that you can view more insights. So, for example, I guess how well your posts are performing, and they show these like graphs and everything. And
oh,
you
really?
search up your name or type up something in the search bar, your pieces take priority above the non-pro
right.
members.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, by default, it's like you opt out of it because it shows pro member work first, and then you have to tell it not to.
Yeah.
So it gives you insights. That's really helpful, because the question I always have is like, when's the best time to post to Artstation?
So when is the best time then, from all the analysis that you've done?
I should have a look. I didn't know that they gave me an analytics. Where do I find this?
You probably should have a look, man. Otherwise, outside of posting blogs, personally speaking, I don't think there's as much of an advantage, because there's some people that post their artwork even though they don't have a pro account, and they still manage to make it into pics and trending.
Yeah.
And art is just one of those
honestly,
things.
I don't think it makes any difference.
Yeah. And art
really.
to me is one of those things which it's like a meritocracy. The best artwork or the cream of the crop rises to the top.
Usually if on the website it's properly moderated and they have a proper algorithm that makes sure that basically not only because of your followership you gain the top spots of pics or trending. Because I mean, if you look at DeviantArt, sometimes what's on the what's hot page might not be the creme de la creme, but more like fandom stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's been like a topic of discussion with some of the coworkers, with some of my coworkers, well, amongst you guys, is that just seeing what kind of artwork ends up becoming trending on Artstation, what seems to be popular.
So this is roughly what it shows you. It might show you more, but this is just like a general graph of views, engagement in terms of comments.
So those peaks, I'm guessing, are like the times that you actually do post then.
Basically, that's just like upload happens here, and then that's the result.
That's fascinating. Like basically the moment when your piece appears on the trending page. Whew, all those sweet exposure points.
So,
yeah.
I kind of want to see.
Coincidentally, happens to be like the heart rate of Thomas's heart rate.
Exactly.
So like whenever he doesn't get any likes, he's almost like flatlined.
Pretty much, yeah.
But every time he gets all of those likes and praises, he instantly gets a huge.
Exactly.
Like,
that's basically how he
brings me back
survives.
to life.
The only way.
Yeah. I mean, why else do you think he joins all of those contests, man? You think it's for the
money? No! How could I have been so blind?
Exactly. He does it for the exposure, man.
It does make sense though. The Artstation competition is very good for that.
Oh, so that would
because I mean they have no prizes basically.
We actually do have a few questions as well in the chat, so don't worry, guys. We will get to it. But I think this would be a ripe opportunity to actually ask, like, out of all of the contests that you've joined so far, Thomas, which one would you say has been the most rewarding one, or perhaps you think has been the best learning experience for you?
Artstation. It was by far the biggest challenge, and I mean had the strongest competition, so it felt the best when I succeeded. Yeah. But the main thing was that it forced me to really consider how I would actually approach it. It wasn't a painting like this where I knew that I could just paint on it for a long enough time and get something detailed and finish looking. In that case, it was design 8 characters, so I had to get them all to the same level. I had to make sure that there's variation between them, they hit the brief, all that kind of stuff. And you only have a month to do it outside of full-time work. That's not much time. So it was developing
crazy.
developing a pipeline for it.
During lunchtime.
Yeah, I didn't have lunches.
Oh no!
Pretty much.
How could you live like this, man? This is.
Well, I mean, you
pretty
just
much
like you
eat
do,
your
Axel.
lunches,
Sometimes.
Yeah, I mean,
you'll paint through lunches
pretty much
sometimes.
just been working at your team.
Yeah, alright, that's true. But I at least try to hang out a little bit with you guys and eat my lunch rather than not see you guys.
You do
at all.
half. But the thing is, quite a few people did that because we all pressured each other into doing sketch tempo. And I built the challenge into sketch tempo, so my sketch of the day was the rough design of the character, and then at the weekends I was busy rendering them up, making them final.
I'm actually opening up Modo right now, since currently I'm working on a personal piece that's an octopus film. And I've just been trying to dabble a little bit more in 3D. Maybe try like a kit bash kind of workflow. So let me try to open it up.
See if it will show on screen.
Wait, can you guys actually read the chat?
Yes.
Because there's a couple of questions. Maybe you guys want to do the honors of reading out some of them and responding as well.
So Thomas, do you want to start with the first one?
Do we multi-stream or not? Yes. I think this is, I don't know, we'll do it at the end probably because it's good fun. But yes, we broadcast separately. Or Axel will start soon. And I have been for the past week. And we'll probably do so later today.
To read it out.
Yeah, I haven't, I don't know what Thomas is talking about. No?
No?
You should read out the question first, so that there's context for everyone else, man.
Well, I mean, this is just a straight answer. It's just, is this a multi-stream or
Oh, I already responded to that one.
Have you?
But there is a question
you've done it in the
from
chat.
Evan, which asks, what do you think about occasionally doing random scribbles or such while streaming for fun? Maybe it would ease the pressure?
Yes, definitely. Basically, after Thomas has started his little streaming adventure, I thought to myself I really wanted to join as well. So a couple of days ago I did a secret stream for myself. Obviously, not telling anyone about it. So
but you have like followers, man. I mean,
but no one cared. But it was still quite fun. And obviously to ease the pressure and to kind of get going, it's just nice to just do some random patches of color and push pixels around and see where it leads you. And obviously that also shows the audience, well, that obviously you aren't perfect, and makes everything a little more personal in a way. So that was nice.
But they'll just lose respect.
Yeah, but I'm willing to take that risk.
And it's interesting, right? Because a lot of us, we know for sure that no one is perfect, but somehow we still fall into the trap of thinking that, one, we have to be perfect.
Certainly.
So we're afraid to show our rough sketches or our bad art. And second of all, we still think that some artists that we admire are perfect as well. And I find that to be really, really interesting, actually. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
Well, it's like when you sketch on paper, or like when we're just sketching at break times, and how there's like the constant voice saying like, make sure this is a good sketch because everyone's watching or everyone's around.
Oh yeah. Well, to be.
You really don't want to like just draw something completely ugly because people are there to see it happen.
But to be honest, when we started the whole drawing on lunchtime breaks, that actually helped a lot ease the pressure of what you draw, and it made it in the end a lot more fun. Even if I just made the most ugly drawing in my sketchbook possible, and you guys were seeing it. And obviously the feeling of, oh god, now basically revealed my inadequacies, and I'm not supposed to be here anyways. But obviously that feeling won't go away because, well.
Yeah, because that's it. It's basically everyone has the feeling, but everyone also understands that it doesn't matter.
You just have to overcome
which
it
is
in a
why
way.
we do, and we happily sketch with each other. It's just
and
you can't ignore that
a
voice.
Bad thing, like showing your weakness. I mean, sure, like there's, like I said, that impression. Sometimes someone is invulnerable to mistakes, and seeing them humanizes them a bit. But instead of like having the effect of, for example, looking at some of the sketches that you maybe struggle with, I don't think of it as, oh, Axel's actually not that good.
Oh, I know
it. That's not the case. It actually inspires me in the sense that, the fact is that even though you still have some bad sketches, you can still produce this kind of amazing artwork, when you really have the opportunity to revise your sketches and also do things properly.
Pretty much.
That's what I really like about your workflow in general, Jourdan, is that you actually go through the sort of concepting stages that I often kind of ignore. And so you do have sheets of design work before you actually go into like composition and illustration stuff.
It's kind of what I'm about to do now, actually. I'm about to like go back in like to the stealth designs of the walkways and actually redesign each one of them. Just do like silhouette exploration. So let's just say I want to try something that's a little bit more of an arch, So I'll just do like quick explorations like that. Which kind of reminds me actually of something that we've seen, or that was a point of discussion earlier on this week, where we saw that post by Carlin Lim on Artstation. I don't know if you guys in the chat have seen that as well, but I found that to be extremely insightful and just inspiring to see how much thought and how I'm guessing, I mean I could be wrong, but how she approaches her designs.
Yeah, that was amazing.
So for those of you that don't know, I'll just quickly link it in the chat. But yeah, I'm curious to hear more in depth what you guys think about that kind of design process, because I think all three of us were impressed by just how she approached that.
It sort of lets you just find design potential in like a different medium almost, because she was finding a lot of the ideas through word associations and stuff. Whereas normally we might like sort of think visually what might look what leads on to something else and what you might add to a scene, but she was basically taking the approach of describe the mood, describe the character or whatever, and start doing a sort of a series of words that link onto each other based on that, and then how that would then translate into visual or a physical design. Which is definitely something
Would you say that's something that you want to do more in your work, Tom?
Yes, I want to try it out.
Since you say that most of the time. I mean, I guess it would also go for you as well, Axel, because both of you, I would say, don't necessarily do as much writing.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Like, it's a difference, because obviously I think about word associations and stuff in my head. I have these ideas, and I go, oh yeah, that links up. That works. It's not like I completely think visually exclusively, but she's actually writing them down and deliberately searching through new words, and so you end up getting a ton of ideas that you wouldn't arrive to if you were just like sticking to thinking through things visually.
Yeah.
That's very true.
So,
but it's not
you
like
need
you
to write
guys
stuff
don't
down.
think about it.
No, not at all.
Because
exactly.
I'm sure it happens like on a subconscious level, but I do, personally speaking, I think that's kind of limiting, because if you think about ideas as a physical object and you're like trying to hold all of these ideas in your hands, some of them might begin to fall off and you can't actually begin to sort it through because they're just a bunch.
You forget about a bunch of them. Yeah, and I mean, even if...
Do you agree with that analogy, or do you think that...
Yeah, obviously.
It's
absolutely.
Still...
Obviously,
they're still more effective.
Go
on, sorry.
Basically, having all your ideas only in your head just make things a lot harder to keep track of them, and once you actually need them or want to remember them, the probability that you've just forgotten them is very high. But obviously I think it's a matter of habit of writing down ideas, because obviously sometimes I remember, hey, I should write these ideas down and what might actually improve my painting. But in other occasions I'm so focused on just painting that I just forget it.
I see. So what would you say about this current piece then? What was your...
So basically the initial idea was very broad. I just wanted to have a fantasy painting, and I wanted to combine it with old masterly style. So I looked at my favorite oil painters and started to combine what I really liked about them.
Could you name some of them? Just so
an obvious one obviously is Richard Schmidt. Then we have Sargent, Zorn, Zroya, and Ilya Repin. These are basically the ones that I thought about while kind of figuring out the whole thing. And then the other thing is obviously subject matter, because it is supposed to be a fantasy painting, and that's super broad as a general idea or theme. So I narrowed it down to dragons. Yeah, and then obviously it started to become a lot clearer, and then I started thinking about, alright, what kind of dragon do I want to paint? Do I want to paint like this screaming, roaring, or fire-breathing monstrosity that you see literally everywhere? Or or do I want to try something slightly different? So I went for a little bit of a different pose, different feeling, how the dragon behaves. I feel like feeling and how a piece feels to you has a lot to do even with the gesture of the characters in the scene. So I wanted to make him alert in a way, so he's like a spring, kind of looking around, bird-like even, and
like a good dog.
Yes, pretty much.
So you're taking inspiration from like
Oh yeah, definitely. But that all happens in my head basically while trying to do the composition. So I can actually show you how I started the piece. Basically, this was the start of the piece, and very rough, and it actually, the colors, because I've looked at the paintings that I liked the most, are quite straightforward, and I liked them, and I didn't really want to deviate from them too much. So that just started to make sense of the mess I created. And at this point,
yes,
it was like, alright, the gesture of the dragon is there, and the feeling of the piece are basically like really calm in a way, and beautiful. It's a serene scenery, forest, waterfall, but it was kind of a lack of story. So, bless you. So I added these little fellas on this rock. It's really hard to make them out, but they're basically people like raiders or like scouts, people that basically snuck up to the dragon. Who knows what they're going to do to him? And after that, it was basically, the story was established, the general feel of the story at least, so I could start making more sense of the mess, and that's where we are right now. So, but that all happens without writing anything down. It is more like a fluid process while sketching.
And I see that one of the layers that you flipped on and off had the dragon actually lurching forward a little bit. So was that you trying out a different narrative possibility?
Yes, basically.
So what was that the idea?
So I wasn't really sure about this pose because it felt quite standard, like you've seen this pose a lot. So I tried, alright, perhaps make him a little more hunched over, a little more lizard-like in a way, and let him look around, make him perhaps even a little more, like creature-like, without getting rid of the alertness of his pose. And I mean, it is quite interesting, but in the end I still feel like this boy still is a little more fun to paint.
It's naturally more appealing, because that's the thing. People will compose something like a dragon in a scene, and they'll find the coolest angle to look at it, and so you get a sense that the scene is set up, kind of like a photographer telling a model to do a certain pose. The nice thing about the other one is that it's something that actually looks much more natural, because you're never going to get that perfect shot.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because it's a living creature and it's constantly moving around.
That, in a way, is calling back to the what do you call it? The sensibilities of the old masters, where it's almost staged and theatric in terms of the posing and staging of the characters.
Yeah, pretty much.
Absolutely. I mean, there's merit to both approaches. Basically, one is great because you get the more coherent-looking image, or like the nicer composition, all that kind of stuff, and the other loses some of that, but gains in the feeling of it being natural, or adding more character to the dragon itself.
But I would dare say that with the dragon neck craning downwards and towards the figures, it almost feels like a tangent with the wings, and also it creates such a... I guess there's like lack of contrast in the flow, like with the waterfall, the waves.
Yes.
Everything seems to go down one level, whereas with this one, at least you have an element that kind of goes up as a horizontal.
Yeah, pretty much. Another reason why I decided for now to go with this pose is because we have basically a couple of motion lines. We have the motion lines of the waterfall going down here, the motion lines of the wings going up here, and basically we are naturally led to this point, and obviously having nice contrast between these, then the rocks being very straight, so we have really different kind of, in a way, sometimes diagonal lines that make it, at least in my opinion, I feel like it makes it a little more interesting to look at, rather than having the dragon just being hunched over and having just like this arch movement. That's fine as well, but
I mean, I guess essentially, if you went for that dragon pose, you would just fiddle around with the environment to make to replace the lack of sort of interesting shapes and that kind of stuff. You could just amp that up in the environment. I'd do another one. I really like the hunched over dragon pose, but I agree with your decision in this piece. I think it's worth going for the...
Yeah, and then obviously...
But it might be worth just trying to lift that dragon and put it somewhere else.
Yeah. And Xialin also has a comment in regards to the current image, which is, well, more like the comment is the tip of the dragon's head a tangent with the waterfall rocks? And I would also...
I could either go with the waterfall cutting down a little bit more here, and kind of making his snout come out, or the other way would basically be just the waterfall being a little bit more wider. So these would be options I'd take to get rid of the tangent.
Yeah, I mean, there's possibilities, or even moving the
pretty much, yeah.
Because I would say that also if you draw like a vertical line where the rocks of where the figures are on and also the dragon is on, it's almost symmetrical in the whole scheme of the canvas.
So
I think moving the dragon would also help.
More or less, they are at the moment more or less on the thirds of the image, and obviously that is always a nice thing to have. But it's nothing is set in stone yet. It's still on the sketching phase, so don't worry, guys. It is going to change at some point.
Yeah. Oh, phew! I was getting so worried.
Oh boy, yeah.
Thanks for telling me. But yeah, Xialin also did say that I like the standing up.
Yes.
So
finally, someone approves.
I mean, I approve of that personally. I like that one better too. So I guess Tom is the minority.
Shut up, Thomas.
Hey, I said I think it's good in this context. I think it's fantastic.
You know you try.
Especially because his little paws are like hanging down, kind of.
Yes.
Almost.
Go back to your phone.
Yes, we have this fantastic post. Someone had I think they just posted some of my art on the 4chan critique board, and there was a lot of harsh criticism. A lot of very harsh criticism, which was very fun to read through.
I mean, why don't you give the whole context though? And also for those in the chat as well, we realize there's quite a few questions. We will get through them over time, but I think this is one story that is not to be missed. And while we're on the topic, let's actually go for it.
Well, I was going to say, whilst I'm sure it's going to happen again.
Okay.
But, like, I don't know. Presumably because I've been streaming. I'm assuming someone had caught a part of the stream where I was talking about... Like, someone had asked how old I was.
Yeah.
So someone had made a post on 4chan. I can just, like, take a quick screenshot of what it looked like.
Just... Says, I wonder where we could link it without linking the whole 4chan.
So this was it. And yeah, someone had posted, 21 years old, not Asian, what's your excuse? And they just posted one
Can
of
you
my
actually zoom in
recent
a
pieces.
lot more because you're a small screen.
That's a good point. And so, you know, blah, blah, blah. People responding. I just found this line funny. I feel like it should become a tagline. For the fundies, weave shits. But then, leading on from it, people started to come up with some fun criticism. This is supposed to be good. This guy has a problem with edge control. It's too hard. There's no focus. And it's like, that's fair.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And it's interesting because a lot of this stuff, it's buried underneath the anger. There's like some useful criticism somewhere in there. But you know, I don't care how complex that is. It's still ugly. That artwork is basically the proof that all technical skill in the world is worthless, and you don't have any sense of aesthetic.
All right, those of you in the chat that actually posted those comments, fess up right now.
Yeah, exactly. Who was it? Who's bullying me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really funny. And then there's people being like, "I know my artists, you don't." All that fun stuff. OP just has hard edges that look like shit. It looks like something Bayard Wu would do. Shitter. And I'm like, if it looks like something Bayard Wu would do, that's great. For those who aren't familiar with that artist, he's great.
Yeah.
Fantastic artwork, but I guess they would have similar criticism of his work because it's sort of it's got a lot of detail in, and it's mostly sort of hard edges across the piece. He's not making focal points with like soft, painterly blurred edges much. He's using lighting and shadow instead. But it was a very good fun.
Yeah.
Very good fun to read through. So I just linked it to my friends at the office, and we were all just going through the comments.
So many people
memeing on them.
People were just getting triggered with the comments.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I find it very easy to ignore them. Like it's not something that upsets me particularly.
I mean, that's.
And I was actually talking to.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, I wouldn't.
Well, I mean, we were talking about it afterwards. You know, after just laughing about it, blah blah blah. I sort of started thinking about who was really sort of being attacked.
Yeah.
Because sure, you know, there's comments just talking about the artwork being rubbish. That's fine. I guess they're attacking me, maybe, or I think in this case it's less that they're upset with the piece of art on its own, because there's no reason to be. It's just because the person posting was essentially calling out everyone, saying, hey, if you're older than this age, you should be this good. If not, you're terrible, blah blah blah. Like, that's essentially what the post is. So it makes total sense that essentially the post itself must be triggering for people that are still learning, essentially. It's not a nice thing to say.
Yeah.
I mean, we can easily laugh it off. I generally see that sort of post and, you know, it's amusing. They're doing it for the meme.
Oh, definitely. And I do think there's always the factor anonymity, which makes people more inclined to say things that they wouldn't face to face.
Absolutely. That's why 4chan can be as entertaining as it is.
Yeah.
But
at the same time, I would say that while we can laugh it off and just make it into memes, I do think that, well, personally speaking, I was a little bit triggered reading those comments, because, and this was something we discussed yesterday as well. It's because, let's just say that it is true, your artwork is shit. And a lot of the people in the studio obviously don't think that. A lot of us really admire the art that you can work on. And in acknowledging that, it's also an affirmation for our taste in art, so to speak. And to have someone just shit on your artwork, there's always the idea of, you know, standing up for your friend, but I think there's also the idea of us feeling like our credibility as artists is being threatened as well.
There's a knock-on effect, because anyone that, you know, would say that it's good or whatever, they're being attacked as well. It's like their taste almost. It's just the problem where, you know, people talking about things being objectively good or bad, when it's obviously their taste in artwork is stuff that's more painterly, looser, not hard edges everywhere like they described. But yeah, it's a fun one.
Yeah, definitely. And whenever in doubt, you know, just make it into a meme.
Yeah,
I think that would be the best way of just disarming the teeth of the comment.
Look up, my friend.
Yeah, hold your horses, my friend. Well, that's another story for another day. But let's actually get to some of the questions in the chat as well, because we have a few.
Wunderbar, yes.
Okay, so Mario Stota asks, what do you think about making painting based on myths?
Oh yes, do it. It's amazing.
I don't think that's what he's asking. As in, what are your thoughts about it?
Well, I mean,
maybe an interesting subject matter.
Yes.
Or is that something you do often?
So the thing is, I feel like with mythology, is that these are stories that have captivated humanity, or at least our culture, for very, very long time. So you can't actually go wrong with trying to tap into that collective in a way, and retell the story visually with your own view on it. So that is obviously a really nice way to create something that people can relate to quite easily. Because why would have these stories lasted so long anyways if they aren't appealing, or at least don't speak to the listeners on a certain level. So that would be a really nice reason why you can just use them and try to reimagine them and try to tap into this sources, fundus of ideas and stories. So yeah, obviously it's lovely.
And the fact that people know of these stories beforehand, like when you then put a twist on it, this is very much why people enjoy fan art. They're familiar with the characters or the rough outline of the story, so when they see a new take on it, they have enough understanding to know what's going on. So generally your scene can be a bit more complicated. They have an understanding, and then they can see the value that you've added to it.
Yes.
It's generally why people enjoy fan art so much, and the same applies here. You're essentially doing a fan art of an old story.
I would say that's definitely what do you call it? It sounds like it's cheapening it. I would say an adaptation.
Yes,
Because
but
I
that's
do
also
think
assuming that fan art in general isn't a good thing, which
but
I don't think is the case.
Because in terms of fan art, you're just essentially taking. Sometimes a fan art can just be drawing the exact design with a different pose, so it's not too much changes. But at least with an adaptation, you can take the essence or the core.
Yeah, but to be honest, with a lot of
these archetypes,
with a lot of mythology stories from mythology, there aren't many original visual images around. So basically, you can't just look at like Norse mythology and you have like basically the original look of Thor, for example. So there's basically just the stories you can use, and all of a sudden you already just are interpreting what people have until now just imagined or painted. So
Yeah, because the ire for fan art generally comes from people. I mean, certainly in concept art, it's because really a concept artist is all about creating new ideas, new designs.
Yeah.
So if you were looking at it from just the approach of an illustrator, what's wrong with fan art? A lot of the time you are given a brief and you're just told to make a great illustration. So it doesn't matter what design work you add to the characters and things. Your work is just to create a nice illustration. So concept artists will go like, oh, why'd you do fan art? Come up with your own designs.
Yeah.
In this case, the designs don't exist.
Yeah.
Certainly not in a modern format. So unless you're just
and
copying the sort of... Yeah, go for it.
Pretty much. And in terms of fan art, it's a lot of times just an appreciation of the original source, and obviously you can apply it the same to mythology. If you really like a certain mythology story, you just want to show appreciation and kind of share your interest with other people. That is another reason why it might be a good idea to do some fan art of mythology. Pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And you can always just, if you really don't want to make it super historical, so for example, if the mythology happens in a certain time period, you don't have to stick to that. You can always choose to adapt it in your own different way, and that's what the book Skillful Huntsman has done, and that's one of the books that I think people go to for how to concept art, because it shows 3 different artists, I think, or at least a few different artists just doing their own take of a fairy tale, which is the Little Red Riding Hood, I think, or the Skillful Huntsman. Yeah, I think that is actually the name of the fairy tale. So that allows you to just take some things that you want to keep and some things you want to change, and allows you to actually decide on what you want to change as well. So perhaps you're not a big fan of that time period, and you're more of a sci-fi guy. Why not put it into the context of a sci-fi world? But the essence still stays the same. You can keep the story the same, or you can, of course, conversely keep the story, or at least change the story, but then you keep the time period.
Yeah, but then
so,
you
like essentially keep the world that it's set in.
Yeah.
So maybe same characters and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it really is up to you how you want to approach it, but you can say that it makes a good base to work off of. I do think that if you don't want to put yourself through the strain of creating your own IP before even beginning a design, then basing your stories off of mythologies or fairy tales would be.
I mean, in some way, you can like deflect criticism because people aren't going to go, oh, that's a weird story, stealing from the rich to feed the poor. It's a bit stupid.
Yeah.
Of course not. Like, obviously the story is good because it's lasted all these years or whatever, but because people know it, they're familiar with it, so they're not gonna criticize the story. They can essentially focus on on the visuals that you bring to it.
And I think one thing to remember about these stories back then, mythologies or I would just say mythologies just to be safe. A lot of them were relatively simple because back then I don't think there was as much of a medium to pass it down other than speech or song.
Yes.
Basically through through speech. And if the story was way too complex, it would make it very difficult to pass down to future generations. And I think it was because of the advent of writing and the availability of reading, the ability to read, that these stories developed to become something more complex.
Yes, I would agree. And what is actually really, really fascinating is basically because for the longest time these stories would have been just told through song or through voice, and there was or through dance or ritual. Basically, over time, the stories would be distilled into their purest form, and in the end, you basically just have archetypes left. Like, for example, the hero's journey would be the distilled story of all stories over a very, very long period of time. And that is very fascinating because that also basically just shows you the most essential parts of a story in these old mythologies, basically because in order to be truthful to the core of the story, people start to change or to strip away the unnecessary things. So I think if the older story gets the purer it can get, in a way.
Yeah. Plus, if you're wanting to write your own story, mythology is definitely a great place to start for the core of your story.
Yeah. And Xylin also comments, back then they didn't have memes. That is, I mean, you might.
They didn't have the modern form of memes.
Yeah, at least because, as far as I know, the definition of memes is packages of information that can be distributed from one person to another.
Yeah, it's almost like a learned or a distributed behavior.
Yeah, it's a package of information, basically. And I think that was first coined by Richard Dawkins, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, an evolutionary term. Or it was for the actions of primates and stuff, and how they would basically repeat the behavior of other clans or other groups.
Yeah. Well,
and how that sort of thing spread.
Yeah, I mean that's what I've heard at least. So memes, I think, by that definition, have existed for much longer than we thought. They're just not, and just not in the form that we are familiar with today. And some would say not as
No, exactly.
But anyway, just so we don't get into to something that's too academic, which I would dare say we're not as knowledgeable about, let us move on to another question. Let's see, let me read through. Oh, Xylin also asked earlier on, I think this was in relation when you were talking about your thought process when you're creating this painting, Tom, but what word association do you have for this peaking terror? So I guess maybe it's more of a question of what was your intention behind putting that little guy in?
Well, it's called, what are they actually called? They're called Terrible Terrors?
Yeah, Terrible Terrors.
I just wanted it to be obviously a secondary detail. So I was like, okay, hide it behind the rock, hide it in the grass. It's now a peaking terror because I hadn't really planned this ahead of time, but it's kind of just like copying a quick upskirt. So it's a cheeky terror. But no, really, it was just it's a small creature. Big creatures are running past, so it's probably going to be somewhat reserved. It's not going to be like scurrying about in the open, so it doesn't get crushed underfoot. That was really just the thought behind it. It was just a nice detail to add.
So what was your prime intention of adding him in, though?
Well, like I said, I did actually say this, it was you that a lot of your feedback was basically just add some more of the world details, things that actually exist within the film, because that's good. That's like that's competition thinking. That's definitely a good example of knowing what the judges presumably are going to want to see and doing your best to put that kind of stuff in.
Yeah. I think that would make for another interesting discussion, is that when you guys join a contest, what's the general strategy that you go into the contest?
Get inside the mind of the judges, essentially. Try and think what will be appealing to the judge.
So, well, that makes sense, but specifically, how would you do that?
Logic and reasoning. Wow.
Wow.
I don't know.
It all
I
makes
just think
sense
it through.
now.
I don't write stuff down, but I do think them through. The other thing I also like to just add in is, like any piece, what is generally going to be popular with that audience.
So
This one, I guess I was...
for this piece, let's just take this as a very specific example.
So firstly, I wanted to make sure it stood out. So that comes in just making a cool image, but something I knew that other people wouldn't be doing is a slightly more realistic take, or not that I knew, but I suspected other people wouldn't be doing, is taking a more realistic feel of the render. So that moves it away from
all of the others.
Typical fan art of the film. And I guess the film itself, even though interestingly, like with most modern animations, the style is basically stylized shapes and characters, but with realistic lighting. So maybe not realistic textures all the time, but realistic lighting. Anyway, so I was going for more of a gritty, slightly darker feel, because again, that's pushing away from what the original film is, and that's what I'm adding to it. So that's my originality covered. Appealingness, I've chosen one of the obvious favourite characters. I could have drawn Hiccup, but I chose not to draw Hiccup because people find girls more appealing. So I did that, and I did
I did not know that.
No way, what, really? Yeah, dude, this is like the underground strat to game the system. You just gotta draw women.
Have you even looked at Artstation, man?
Exactly. So that was the thought behind that, really.
Roanna also says, Axel, that's dope. Is it also for
it's not, no, it's a personal piece. I mean, it would be cool to have such a dragon in the movie, but no, it's...
You could adapt it.
Come again?
You could adapt it.
I didn't get that.
Just adapt that dragon there into one of the dragons from the films.
Yeah. Oh.
Easy peasy.
I forgot the name, but it's basically man, I don't even remember the name of the dragons or the characters so much now, but man, I would have a few years back, because I've watched the first movie well over like 20 times already.
Impressive.
Unfortunately, I can't make an Arnold impression. I'm really, really bad at impressions. The only impression I can make is...
you're reading.
Yes. Mario Sutter asked if I can make an Arnold impression. I can only make a really, really bad German accent.
Okay, go ahead.
So now I'm just going to speak like a proper German. Very, very, very evil. No.
Thomas, do you notice any difference?
No.
This is so hurtful. Please stop. Bitte nicht. Warum tust du mir weh?
You just sound like you do every single day at the studio, man.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not
Pretty
getting
much,
much of a difference here, sorry.
Alright, I mean, this is just my style, you know?
Yeah. He might not be able to do a proper Arnold impression, but he does a pretty decent Yeah.
German Mickey Mouse. That'd be great. Do they dub? I'm assuming there must be some
real life translation.
Some shows, Mickey Mouse shows, that they have to dub into German.
Yeah. Fun trivia: when Axel was young, he dubbed Mickey Mouse for the Mickey Mouse TV show on Disney Channel.
Fake news. Spreading
the
lies.
Sure.
The more you know.
I can't remember where we were. We were about appealingness for challenges.
Right.
That's basically my main thought process. The other thing is that detail is always impressive. I don't know if this is entirely true. I'm sure different judges will think differently, but if they're trying to make a hard decision between two pieces, and one of them has been filled with just that little bit more detail, or just a couple more of these in-world references and stuff, I feel like that's probably going to be the sort of thing that edges it out. So adding these extra details to show that I've put the extra effort into fitting this into the actual world. Essentially, I think for a competition like this, they want to see that the people entering are really like a fan of the the topic, the theme.
Wouldn't it be funny if one of the judges was the people that commented on your
That'd be
just
fun.
like shred your piece for the
They pop up and they're like, oh god, I know this artist.
Yeah. Oh god. You might not know your artist, Thomas, but they clearly do.
Yeah, they know their artists. You don't.
To be honest, I would feel embarrassed to be on the list of the artists they know. So.
Why? I mean, the
yes,
list
the list
of
was
artists
actually
they
quite
are.
nice, but just the fact that basically being used as a beacon of talent on 4chan, I don't know if that's a great idea.
Yeah. I think we got it all wrong, guys. I think the metric for talent isn't how good our portfolio is. All those videos that we've watched of other professionals telling us that that's the truth, they're wrong. Clearly, it's about the artist that you know.
Yes.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's basically
Can you
who
name
follow
an artist?
on Artstation. It's not your actual portfolio. You've heard it first here, guys, on the Drawing Table podcast. Mark my words. In the future, we're not going to be judged by our portfolios, but by the people that we follow. So, yeah, I'm going
Well, the thing is, there's a
on
strange real-world parallel with the whole. It's getting jobs and stuff, not about your art necessarily, but about the people you know. There's truth in that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's really the case with art. It's sort of more to get the opportunity to even have your portfolio looked at. It's about the people you know for some jobs.
Yeah.
There are some things where you only have that opportunity or have that chance to talk to a certain director or something just because you happen to know his friend. So at that point, I feel like really it does always come down to your art in the end, because sure, you may know him, but you still have to then have the portfolio that they look at and go, yeah, this is the dude we need. Yeah, who you know certainly applies to a lot of things.
So you guys better start treating me better.
Well, I was going to say, which is why you should behave well online. And which is why on 4chan that stuff doesn't matter. You can ignore the fact that what you say could be damaging to your potential career prospects because no one will know who said it.
That is actually true, I would say. You might think that, yes, skill is really important, and there might be some studios that will hire you despite being an asshole. But I would dare say that if you really do want to get around in the industry, considering it's still quite a small one relative to more established fields of like business, for example, or STEM. And I think sometimes the people that you know or how people perceive you will definitely affect the kind of jobs that you get in the future. Because sometimes what goes around is that in the studio, when they're hiring someone, they might actually ask you, like, or the HR might ask you, do you know this person? And you can just very easily kill their chances of getting the job just by saying that.
Just be like, I met them in industry workshops. They were a dick. I mean, our art manager, he was saying that he had been in industry workshops, seen this guy. They were kind of being a bit cocky, generally just not showing a lot of grace. I don't know, they must have been doing something a bit more like arrogant or serious than that, because he, like half a year later or something, that same guy turned up in his interview room and he was like, well, I know that you're not getting the job ahead of time. I can't remember how extreme it was, but essentially, things aren't forgotten, and even if it's not experienced firsthand, like Jourdan said, people can just pass on information, be like, oh yeah, I met that guy, but he's a dick. He seems like a real pain to work with. It's probably not a safe bet. And I think our hiring process really focuses on personality a lot more than maybe normal.
And I think that's
because in larger companies,
that's not necessarily the case with all the studios. That's why I did preface it by saying, I don't think that's the case with all the studios, where some people I think value skill more, for example.
Well, that's it. In a much larger studio, much less of the organization relies on strong individuals, because everything's so much bigger. Tasks are set, and it's just, they basically manage it whether the tasks are completed or not. Whereas Adam Org is a much smaller studio, so everyone working efficiently and well together matters a lot more. And I think we can end up doing far better work because of it. But yeah, that's why the selection of personality, I think, is so much stronger.
Definitely agree with that.
But yeah, I think it's great because it means the studio is a lovely place to work.
I would say so.
It's the best thing I think about it for me. If I had to point to a favorite thing about working there, it's you guys. Oh, that's getting so sweet.
Oh, you guys.
Oh, stop it.
But I feel like that would be the case for most places. Everyone will have their closest friends, but
Yeah.
the main thing is that all upper management, all the producers, everything like that, they're all really nice people that are great to work with.
Yeah, it just gets a lot more difficult, I think, in a bigger studio to have an environment where everyone gets along with better. And I think we are lucky in that sense, where Adam Hawk, I think, has a lot of people that are very pleasant to work with. And not to mention as well, of course, that lots of very talented people that work there. And it just makes working there a joy. So yeah, if you guys are thinking about maybe a first studio to actually work for, just for the experience and to work on a breadth of various projects. I'm not getting paid to say this, but I would say that Adam Hawk is a good place to discover yourself in that sense.
I would agree.
Absolutely.
Alright, let's
Give
see
me a
if
second.
there's any other questions in the chat.
I'm gonna have a toilet break. Give me a second.
Enjoy.
Alright, no problem. Not too many other questions, actually.
Oh, that's fine.
It's a little bit more of a quiet day today, but we do have quite a few people
Yes.
watching. There's
Wow.
22 people in total, so I would say that's a solid number. And of course, for those of you that just joined us recently or have stuck around from the start, yeah, we really appreciate having you here. It's just a lot of fun
Yes.
just to chat
Yes.
about drawing. Although I'm finding it a little bit difficult since I'm doing something that's more design
Yeah,
heavy.
yeah.
So trying to just field the questions.
Oh, yeah.
Keep the conversation
Yeah, I mean,
going.
you're
and
doing
think
a
of
great
like
job here,
solutions.
man. I feel like
Ah,
because,
thanks,
at least in my case, I'm still in a quite early phase of the painting, and I still have to
Yeah.
figure out a lot of stuff that's similar to your case. It's basically now try to design shapes and make them appealing on micro compositions and obviously on the macro composition.
Yeah.
So, it is.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can try.
What you look for when it comes to macro compositions and micro compositions?
So basically, the macro composition is more or less established, as we talked earlier about. It's fine. I mean, all the elements are there, and they might shift around a little bit because, for example, the rocks do have the width of the rock is very similar, and I don't like that. And even like the distance between the rocks is. I want to have a little more asymmetry. I don't want to have them so similar, because that kind of just creates boring shapes. If it's basically a repetition of the same width and height and scale of the different elements, and obviously different elements. I mean, not alright a dragon or a person, but generally one value shape, one value group might be the trees in the background, the bright waterfall, or the rocks. Basically, these are I try to separate them in value groups and work with that.
Sorry to interrupt, but this seems very relevant. What was that thing that Morton was telling us about, where you had to fit a certain number of lines onto
it's the box
canvas?
Exercise.
The box exercise. What was that exactly? Because I was trying to recall it the other day on stream, and I couldn't. Like, I knew roughly what it was.
Man, is he here on the chat? But if I recall correctly as well, you have to think how to arrange 3 boxes in a composition without any of them being on the same size or any of the lines being parallel to each other, I think. So it's to basically create variety. Yeah, to be able to create variety on every single level, I think.
Because it was also just like distances between the points of the corners of the boxes and stuff. None of those could be the same.
Yeah. So I think that's what he means. If he's here in the chat, or we can just ask him when we get into the studio on Tuesday, because we have a bank holiday on Monday.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh yeah!
Oh yeah!
So nice. I love long weekends.
So much time to draw.
I mean, I'm so tempted to just not take longer holidays throughout the year and just have a constant, well, not constant, but maybe for like half the year, just have a 4-day weeks instead of 5.
That'd be amazing. The thing is, I actually really enjoy going back to Germany and visiting my family and friends, so it's uncomfortable for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, what were you saying earlier about your micro and macro compositions? Before Thomas rudely interrupted you.
How could you?
Well, it's just because it's very pertinent.
Yes, it is actually.
It has a big effect because essentially it's that exercise but in action.
Pretty much. So I would basically try to make sense of the value shapes in the bigger picture, and obviously a great way to do that is to zoom in and out and to see, alright, obviously now you can see, alright, does it work, does it look interesting, does it look appealing, and then obviously do the shapes, is there enough variety, or is it interesting enough, is there a dynamic, is there a contrast, and such. And if I feel like, I want to change things, then obviously I change, and then I can start working in the smaller scale, basically within the value groups, the big shapes, and see, alright, how can I arrange light and dark value shapes in a way that on the one hand leads the eye and on the other hand makes it look appealing. Yeah, and the thing is, I actually have no idea how to put it into words. It's really a lot has to do with like how does it feel, and how do I basically just, does it feel like, looks nice, just looks interesting enough, has it a nice dynamic. I might need to think about it more to actually put it into words.
Yeah, I think that is the difficulty for a lot of us as artists, is that we might understand a lot of these things on an instinctual level, but to be able to put it into words and teach it to someone else is a different challenge in itself. And I've encountered a lot of great artists that unfortunately, when it comes to putting what they know into words, I don't think they're quite as great at it. Although, to be fair, for some of them it is a language barrier.
Yes. Also it is,
but yeah, regardless of that,
yes, and I think it is mostly a matter of practice. That's why a stream like this, or just streaming in general, might be a great idea. You can, I think that's what Thomas, you were actually doing, basically.
Yes, well, it's also why I don't care about repeated questions, because every time something gets asked, I get to solidify my answer. Like, I will think about the answer every time and go, okay, this is a better way of putting it, or a way that's easier to pass.
It's actually super similar to mentorships. So if you have someone you're showing stuff privately, it's great to obviously if you haven't done a mentorship before or just right at the beginning, it's a lot more experimental, but still really helpful to clarify your thoughts and actually teach yourself by actually articulating your thoughts.
I completely agree with that, and that is also one of the reasons why I started doing this podcast, is to practice putting a lot of these ideas in my mind into words. And I really do think that it's easy to assume that what we know, everyone else knows. But I've been quite surprised by quite a few instances while doing this podcast, people telling me or just reading from the comments that they've learned something or found what I said or what other people have said to be insightful. And I don't mean that to say that other people are dumb or that they, and I don't think that's
ignorant
the case
would be the word.
Yeah, or ignorant. Thanks for correcting me. Are ignorant. It's just that I think when you're constantly surrounded, for example, by other professionals that have gotten to a high level, there's just some things that a lot of us already know. And when
it's assumed essentially.
Pardon?
Like, people assume that everyone else knows what you're talking about when you say something, and so you do like the quickest way of explaining what you mean, and they get what you mean because they'll have seen it as soon as you mention it. And so you forget that that's not standard.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And hey, Dimitri, welcome to the stream. Good to have you here, man. And we're currently still we're just finished talking about the whole idea of being able to learn the skill of talking and communicating ideas through a stream. And Axel and Thomas are just working on their personal stuff as well.
Do you want to do some stupid drawing games?
Oh, that might be actually fun.
Sure.
So something we've done a couple of times.
Let's just break things up a little bit rather than talking about more technical stuff as well. Why don't we have a little bit of shits and giggles, and so that I can actually do something without having to rack my brain. All right. So let me make a new canvas.
Yeah, because basically during lunchtimes, when we've just been sketching stuff, I don't know what gave me the idea, but I was like, hey, let's try and draw Mario from memory. Or what was it first? It was Kirby. We were trying to draw Kirby from memory. And it suddenly becomes very obvious that we really have no idea what Kirby actually looks like.
Yes.
Like, we have the rough idea, we have the feeling of it, but there's a bunch of details you just miss completely.
Yeah, even though Kirby is just like around.
Yeah.
It's about as simple as you can get.
Before we start, I'm just going to take a little break. I'll be right back.
Oh. Did he just cut off?
You did cut off for me.
Yeah, same. But in any case, we are actually going to try drawing some characters.
So yeah, if people have characters that we would know, so video game characters are best because they're simple. Give a suggestion in the chat.
Video game characters, or even, for example, like a Pokemon.
Yeah, Pokemon would be good because I have terrible memory of them. Yeah, post them in the chat.
Yeah. So if anyone has suggestions for what kind of video game or cartoon characters to draw, do let us know, and we'll do our best to draw them without any reference.
What's the prize for we can get the chat to judge as well. Who does the best?
Which one has the best one?
We're not allowed to look at the stream, of course, because we can't look at each other's drawings and cheat.
Mm-hmm. We actually do have a first suggestion by Evan, which is to draw the Pokemon Eevee.
Eevee. Ooh. That's a good one. That's a good suggestion. When's Axel going to be back?
I don't know. I'm sure he won't be too long.
Wait, should we just message him on Discord? Is he still part of the group?
I think he
cut
said
out?
be right back. He said be right back.
Oh, did he? Should we wait for him
Yeah,
to
let's just
start?
wait. I don't want to get a head start. Let me just test out my brushes. Just make
I'm
sure
definitely
it
not saying wait, because I want to finish these boats.
Go ahead, man.
I'm kidding. I can do this later, but we shall. Yeah, when Axel joins.
Alright. Well, thanks for letting us know, guys. Apparently the chat could hear what Axel was saying,
right.
but we couldn't.
I'm back anyways. Hello, guys.
Oh, hello.
And
What happened?
Kaibat also asked, who's your favorite starter Pokemon? Oh, that's tough, actually.
I forgot what it's called. Cyndaquil. I love Cyndaquil. It's so cute.
Yeah, that's true.
He says, of course I can't draw it from memory, but it's adorable.
It's hard to say, but Torchic is pretty damn cute.
Ooh, the fire Pokemon.
Or Chimchar. Yeah, and and the ones that I've been choosing are the fire ones. That's usually what I go for anyways when I'm playing the games.
I usually go for the green ones, plant based.
Plant-based.
And
Yes, cruelty free.
and actually like bug Pokemons, but that's only because there is one trainer, I think in the first or second edition, that is basically a bug collector Axel. So
Oh, that rings a bell.
so
And you're like, I'm gonna be Bug Collector Axel.
yes. So
Steal back your
Bulbasaur
identity.
was always my starter, at least for the first edition.
I see.
That's great.
And other people in the chat have been saying as well. Mario says, Charmander team, let's go! And Xylin also says,
Yes!
Bulbasaur.
Ah!
And Evan
Okay.
says, I can't really choose between Cyndaquil, Chikorita, Bulbasaur, and Charmander. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the earlier generation Pokemon, I think, have a special place in my heart. Even Totodile is great as well.
Oh yeah, Totodile.
Yeah, actually, Totodile is pretty damn cool.
Adorable. Okay, so our first challenge, Axel, is to draw
Eevee.
Eevee.
Eevee? What? Where's Eevee again?
It's the one that evolves into the different
Oh, it's like this little.
ones, depending on which stone.
Oh, it's like this little weird rodent creature.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a bunny
Yes,
rabbit cat
yes,
cross instead of just like standard cute things from everything.
So, Jesus.
And it's now taking over Pikachu. Like they're trying to sort of make it the new sort of mascot character.
So are we starting now?
I think so.
Let's actually do it in like what, 5 minutes? Or
Yeah, we have a 5-minute
let's
challenge.
okay, let's do it in 5 minutes. Okay, let's start now.
I've already started.
Oh no, it's a
Okay.
Pikachu.
I don't
I'm just like
remember.
closing my eyes trying to remember.
I can't.
All I
Oh,
remember.
What does it have on its face?
does it? It's like,
Remember
Does it have a
earlier
nose?
in the stream where we were saying that we're trying to inoculate ourselves to embarrassment and shame. And also not being afraid of showing people some of our horrible sketches. well, you're about to get a big dose of that.
I have no idea. I haven't played Pokemon or looked at Pokemon for ages. It's basically just from my
I think
childhood.
his ears are too big. Oh, what are the ears like?
Yeah, mine just looks like a rabbit at this point. I don't know.
They're long,
Oh, wait,
right?
are they?
Okay, I'm
Does it have a nose?
I think it does, but I'm not sure. Does it have like fox ears?
Nah, Eevees don't have a nose.
Are you trying to sabotage us?
No.
Yeah,
I don't
actually, if you guys want to join in on the chat as well, just doing your own things, that would be really awesome to see. And you can just tag us later on, or the drawing table, and it'll just be really funny to see.
Alright, I still don't know what Pokemon eyes are. I think maybe it has round eyes. I've given it like the tall ones. It doesn't look like an Eevee at all. Jeez. Alright.
Jesus, I have no idea. Mine looks really sad. Alright. Okay, let's see.
What's that saying again where it's like, never meet your hero?
Yeah, pretty much. This is embarrassing.
Yeah. I think they should have a new saying, never meet your heroes drawing Pokemon.
I'm just going to make it very chubby. So it doesn't really look like Eevee anymore, so I can get away with it.
We have 3 more minutes.
Oh shit. Does it have what tail does it have? Is it just like a little poof? Oh. Rabbit tail? I'm trying to imagine what the later evolutions look like to get some...
My Eevee looks stoned. Or like he's seen some shit. No, I'm not using a ref. I swear.
Oh, wait, someone's accusing you of using a reference? Damn, yours must be...
Oh, jeez,
yours must be looking pretty good. Oh, I remembered a crucial thing.
Oh no, I'm giving it away.
I'm not looking at yours. That's cheating. Wait, how are you reading the chat, Jourdan?
Oh, I have the restream thing.
Oh, okay. You're forgiven.
I haven't seen anyone else's yet. I'm not sure if I want to now.
I think it's got a round, bald head.
I have no idea how the ears are supposed to go. Perhaps a little more angled?
I don't know, all I remember is that it definitely has 4 of them.
4 ears?
No, don't listen to him.
Oh!
Do we have to colour it as well?
You can, if you can do it in 1 minute. Let me save this as a PSD.
I'll flex on you. Yeah, I can shade in a minute. Sure, why not? Let's just close these edges up.
Okay, time's almost.
Oh no!
Oh shit. Oh no. Where are the holes? Ah, excellent. Ding. Eevee. Crumbs, what color is it?
And time is up.
No!
Okay. Let's see. Oh boy. I shouldn't have
that's good.
tapped into the Twitch.
Go on, zoom in on that.
It's closer to a Jolteon /
I have no idea how it looks. I'm so sorry.
Let's just brighten this
Thomas, yours is just a dog with a poofy mane. Alright, do we even need to ask the chat then?
Hey, that's a bit confident of you, jeez.
Alright, chat, which one of us has drawn the best Eevee? And Xylin also has linked.
That's wonderful. It's like a little squirrel.
It's actually similar to yours, Thomas.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I love it.
We'll copy in. Here's a late entry.
Alright.
That's awesome.
So for people that couldn't see it, that's Xylin. So let's get suggestions for the next Pokemon. Or anything actually. Could be like Simpsons or
Yeah, what the hell, Jourdan? How did you get that so accurate?
I don't know. I played a lot of Pokemon.
Jeez, man.
This is what we were aiming for.
Oh, I see.
It's adorable. Yeah, no, mine does not look like this.
And Roanna says TCK looks like a mix of Pikachu and
Yes.
Eevee. Still cute.
Yeah, it felt very Pikachu-like when I was painting it.
Alright,
Oh man.
next suggestions. Go.
Alright, group that. That's Eevee. Round
don't
1,
get-
Eevee.
Silent says Jordan's looks better than the original.
It is quite adorable.
I don't know, man.
I prefer yours, Jourdan.
And if we don't get any suggestions, we will just choose one at random. Rayquaza.
It doesn't have to be Pokemon, by
are
the
you
way.
guys
It's
familiar
probably
with
best if it's
Rayquaza?
not. Otherwise, I don't have no idea what Rayquaza is. If you just describe it to us, we can.
The Pokemon from 3rd generation, the Green Dragon.
A green dragon.
Okay. Oh, actually, no. Xiaolin has an interesting one. Oh, actually, no. Before that, Evan suggested Zelda. Oh god.
Oh, this is gonna be bad.
Oh my god.
Oh, jeez.
And Zelda's the princess, right?
No,
Okay.
it's Zelda's the warrior. Link's the princess.
Hmm.
No. What?
Mind games.
Why don't we draw
Okay.
Link, actually?
No, they said Zelda. Where's drawing Zelda?
Let's draw Link.
I haven't played the game, so it's
I haven't either. Let's play Link. I mean, draw Link.
Okay, we're drawing Link. Fine.
I don't even. I guess our adaptation of him. I don't even know. And I'm ashamed to admit I haven't really played the games outside of the Game Boy Color one.
He's like a little gnome, right? He's got a pointy hat.
Gnome. Oh my god.
There's a pointy hat that flops at the end. Oh god, what does he look like?
Oh no. How do I draw?
I feel like he doesn't have a hat on in the recent iterations of it.
He's angry looking, right?
Maybe he has a body.
Whatever. Oh, and
He's
time
got-
starts now, so we have like 4 minutes. So.
He's got swoopy hair. Is he elf? Does he have elf ears?
Yes, I think so. Oh, and hey Dina, great to have you on the stream. You caught us at the perfect time.
Yeah, just as we're about to make some fantastic artwork.
Yeah, and Dina says, I've played this before, and it's better drunk. I would agree, I think.
Is there a little like coat, jacket? Nah, he's looking too elf-like.
Yeah, if anyone else wants to join us, well, you can just do what Xiaolin did and just post yours up to Imgur and just post it in the chat. I have no idea how it looks like.
Here, my opponent's losing their mind. What's the symbol? Is it something like that? Please tell me that's right. I feel that's pretty crucial.
Oh my god.
Is that the
How the
Hyrule symbol?
tables have turned.
Little boots? Does he have little boots on?
Oh my god, help me. From the lack of noise from you two, either both of you are very confident
Oh no.
or just fallen into complete despair.
I just.
I mean, I'm not really going
No,
for
not
accuracy here,
anymore.
but at least trying to remember some of the design elements. He's got like a little.
Just draw a gender bent like Link.
Add some
As a
color
cute
too.
anime girl.
We have to add color because I feel like that's a pretty
Okay.
crucial part of the design.
Oh my god. I'm sorry, Zelda fans. I've let you down.
Okay, here we go. Perfect. Let's add some color. I'm sure his main colors changed in Breath of the Wild, didn't they? Did he go from green to blue?
I think so.
Did he go from blue to green?
Maybe that's just a different skin.
Something changed.
I probably shouldn't add like lines under his eyes. Just makes him look angry and old. How does the
Let's not project yourself onto it.
I don't even know if it's on the shield.
I don't think it is.
I mean, I did play Super Smash Brothers, so it's like probably one thing that's kind of saving me a little bit.
Nah, the Hyrule symbol's on his sword.
Whatever, man.
And hat, I think?
It's now on his shield. And it's canonical.
Actually, I think he has Hyrule on his hat. I think that's pretty important.
I'm surprised there's not more outrage going on in the chat. Maybe they've just like left.
Can't bring themselves to watch.
Yeah. I've made a mistake spending my weekends on this stream.
I thought I trusted these people, but they betrayed me.
That would be fun to draw next, actually, Mickey Mouse.
Oh god, Mickey Mouse.
We have
Ooh.
time for like two more, I think, after this.
Awesome. Oh no, that's brown. That's brown.
Join us, Wazar. I just vaguely remember Evan. I don't know, and maybe you're talking about someone else, but I think that there's the Trifor. I feel like I'm just drawing like fan art at this point, or like
I mean,
like my interpretation.
That would be ideal if you could do a decent one.
Yeah. Maybe it'll get so popular, like people will start like printing bootleg versions of my Link.
Bootleg Link. All right.
Oh, we're okay. Let's just spend one more minute to wrap it up. I'm just gonna add values quickly.
I feel like you're twisting this to your own advantage, Game Master Jourdan.
Hey, I missed. You want what? You want it to end now? We can.
No, okay.
Okay,
I'll take more time.
We should definitely make this like a thing we do once in a while for painting tiles.
Oh yeah.
Brush posters. Or
Sketch kids.
Sketch kids. I'm sorry.
Let's give them cute little cheeks. Huh.
Okay, time's up.
Shine.
Anyway,
Axel, I love it.
That's awesome. Okay, so.
Oh, Axel.
Alright, chat, you be the judge. Who did it best?
Oh shit, I fucked up the Triforce. I really fucked up Triforce.
It's a radioactive.
That's amazing.
Radioactive.
Oh my god. An IP also did something as well. Oh my gosh, these are fantastic. Oh man, these are great.
Oh, wonderful.
How about we do Mickey Mouse next?
Okay. Mickey Mouse time.
Let's do Mickey Mouse.
Alright.
And Xylin says this time I think TCK wins. Oh, and Mario, I think, did something as well, so we'll put that up on the screen.
Oh yeah.
Taking a while to open up. Oh, it's pretty good.
Oh.
Hey.
I like this interpretation.
Hey,
Give her a serious.
probably better than most of our. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so one more. Actually, we can probably do 2 more if time allows it. But let's draw Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
And Evan also asked, would you guys be interested to create an art Discord server for this podcast community? This drawing without ref challenge is really fun. Discord might be perfect to share those these stuffs. That might not be a bad idea at all, actually. I'll have to discuss that with Ken though. But yeah, I think that's a great suggestion, Evan. Okay. And now we're drawing Mickey Mouse. And oh, welcome anime gamer Jourdan. And well, we're basically just drawing cartoon or video game characters from memory, and so far we've drawn Eevee from Pokemon and Link. And we're just doing the best that we can. And right now we're drawing Mickey Mouse. Let's see if I remember.
Wait, what does his face look like? He looks so angry.
Does he have a neck?
A mech?
A neck.
Oh, a neck. I don't know. What are his eyes like?
I'm drawing a very sexy Mickey with his hips just. Oh god. Oh boy. Whatever. I'm keeping that. Oh my god. Thanks, Jourdan. We're trying.
Beautiful.
I don't know how his snout looks like. Oh my god. I should have paid more attention to how to draw Disney character books when I was younger. Oh no. Oh god. How the hell does eyes look like? That doesn't help Wazer.
I have no idea what how his eyes work. Like he's got a.
I'm sure his nose isn't that far out. It's not like Goofy's.
Is it separate? Is it like a little lump that sticks on, or is it
know.
part of his face?
I don't know, man.
Oh, something looks so off about this.
How are his... Does he wear shoes, or is he just, like, naked?
He wears knee-high boots. Leather boots with spikes.
What? No, don't help us, Giraffe. Just let us wallow in our own filth.
Alright, so here's a good question. What color is his clothing?
Black.
He just wears a black suit.
He doesn't wear it.
He wears something. Does he have a yellow
man.
face?
How many childhoods are we destroying with this? With the.
Is it blue? What does he wear? Red. He wears red. I think. Is it like a deep red? Ooh.
Where's the red come from?
I'm sure he wears a red one.
Doesn't he have, like... What's the color of his trousers?
Red?
He has right. He does have red trousers.
I thought they were pink. Actually, he has stripy trousers,
Oh
isn't
God. I should have paid more attention. Help me.
he? Does he have like a little belt?
Oh my gosh. I'm just gonna embrace the sultriness in the pose.
You sure it's still stream safe, Jourdan?
That's true. I might get the channel banned.
You gotta mark this as mature.
Oh my god, it looks like he has tits.
What have you done?
I wanted to give him man boobs, but it just looks like Minnie Mouse.
Uh-oh.
I'm blurring that out. I'm sorry you had to see that, guys. Hey, Burrito. Really great to see you on the stream again.
Hey, what's up? Join in if you've got Photoshop open. Try and draw Mickey Mouse from memory.
And she said the 3 riders of the apocalypse. Which one of us is death? I think all of us are, actually.
Which one's famine? War. What's the last one? Disease?
Like pestilence.
Yeah, pestilence is basically disease, I think.
Yeah. And famine.
Oh god, what is the eyes like? I
don't
really
know,
don't
man.
know.
And Giraffe says, I will title the top left one, Minnie isn't home right now. He's just cross-dressing with Minnie's clothes. Okay, 1 more minute. And then you have...
Okay, we're gonna have to give him a face. Wait, where's his mouth? Do we see his mouth? Is it just like a big dumb smile? Oh, it's so wrong. Something's terrible. Something's terribly wrong.
Oh, time's up.
Ah!
Oh, I gotta put 2 highlights on the eyes.
Wait, let me just draw the window.
There we go.
What the hell, guys? You guys didn't even try for like the modern Mickey.
Excellent. Good lord.
Oh my god. What the hell, man? I'm the only one that tried to do a modern Mickey.
That's really nice.
Ah, what does he look like?
And hey, X tried and glad to have you join us on the stream, man. And there's also one.
Hey!
Oh, he has a massive nose.
And there's also one more by IP as well.
Look what it should have been.
Huh?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh god! An IP!
It's supposed to have a
IP
big
has
odd
done one
nose.
as well. Admittedly,
Oh,
it looks more like Felix the cat.
Oh man, hold on, let's correct this. Let's
Alright.
make this right.
We can do one more. Let's do one.
We can still fix him.
No!
We
no.
have the technology.
Yours is beyond fixing.
Aha!
Oh, Giraffe, if only you've seen the other things that people have done of not safe for work Mickeys. And Demetrius done one as well. Oh, these are fantastic. Russian Mickey Mouse. basically
That's amazing.
Trying to draw famous cartoon characters or video game characters from memory.
Oh dear.
All
It's
right,
terrible.
One more. Let's do one more. What do you think, chat?
Ugandan Knuckles.
And X Trident says that's great and all, Dimitri, but where's the vodka? Sure, if anyone can just put in a suggestion, we'll get to doing it.
All right, that's Mickey. Good lord.
Fantastic. Oh,
Sonic.
Yeah, I guess that would be fitting actually. Let's draw Sonic.
Sonic.
And Thor says all this is making me very uncomfortable.
Oh god.
You look fantastic. Alright, so why not make it like this? If we were to design the Sonic from the new film into our own version, what would it
Wow, so much pressure all of a sudden. How does...
Well, thanks for letting us know, X Trident. I'll probably change that later when we upload it to YouTube. Forgot about that. Okay, Sonic. God, how does he even look like? Now all I can think about is Mickey Mouse. And thanks, Burrito. I think we'll just finish up by drawing Sonic. All the other suggestions are great, but we're almost near the end of our stream actually. It's almost been 2 hours. Isn't that crazy? Oh my god. Oh my god. How does he look like?
The movie Sonic or the actual Sonic?
We're just drawing Sonic. The floor's open.
If you can redesign him for your own, with your own design for the movie. Oh my god.
Does he have a tail?
I don't know. He can if you want yours to. And Mario
You think-
also says, not fair, Tom has drawn the Ugandan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what the hell? What the hell, man?
That's not
Yeah, I don't think that helps too much, I'll be honest. Or maybe I should draw the Ugandan Knuckle version of Sonic. Ugandan Sonic. Although that would probably just look the same.
Axel's and Burrito says Axel Sonic is what I see in my nightmares. Can't wait to alt tab.
This one should be a good one.
Wait a minute, I remember now. Based on the image that you sent to me over Discord, Thomas, that he has that thing under his eye.
Yeah. He's got the super weird eye. He's actually just got one giant eyeball with two pupils. And a flap of skin that just lays over the top.
Don't know how his nose looks like though. I'm guessing it's like Mickey. Yeah, I'll just draw it like Mickey.
How many fingers does he have?
As many as you want him to.
Does he have gloves? So many questions.
An anime gamer giraffe says Sonic is now thick with 3 C's. I wonder which one he's really
Must be Axel. I'm looking forward to this, Axel.
He wears glasses.
I think so.
This is so stupid.
Oh my god. We're actually going over like 5 minutes, but whatever, let's just take 2 more minutes and I'll finish mine up as well. I'm so bad at keeping time. We should have like people keeping time for us or set up our own timer.
I mean, yeah, if we actually had a hard timer,
yeah,
that could be fun.
Not according to me. I can manipulate it at will.
He has the power to manipulate time. Okay. I think that'll do. Let's give him some colour, otherwise I don't have time to finish.
Are you guys actually doing it in color?
I think it'll have more impact in colour.
Evan, you can share the image to Imgur, right?
Wow, it suddenly looks like Sonic. Amazing.
Oh man, the comment section is great, guys. You should just have a look at it for yourself later.
Hold on a second. We gotta concentrate. We don't have enough time for that.
Yeah, later. That's why you have restream. Yeah, boy.
Restream. Perfection.
I said. Okay, time's up actually. Alright. Oh my god. We're done, guys.
Oh, okay.
Mine just looks like Knuckles.
It does. Yeah, what have you done? That's Knuckles, not Sonic.
I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
Axel, yours is fantastic.
Let me open up the others as well. And just read the comments section, guys. It's fantastic. Oh, what? Wait, who did this one? This one's fantastic.
Those teeth.
It's probably like the best Sonic out of all the. Oh my god.
Oh, that's actually good.
It's Sonic.
That's great. That's really great. Who was that? Was that?
These are so good.
It's amazing.
Oh, that is
yours
wonderful.
looks like it's a cross between Titans from Attack on Titan.
That's so good.
Extra says, Sonic, stop, that's not chili, dog. Sonic, no. Use earpods.
That's not chili dog.
And we have one more from Dimitri, actually.
Oh, that's wonderful.
God. These have all just come straight from the depths of hell.
Dimitri, it's like anime. Anime high school Sonic. That's wonderful.
My God. These are fantastic.
Ah shit, here we go again.
Oh man. That was a lot of fun though. I think this should be something we do once in a while.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
Let's put the line up. Let's put all of the...
Especially when we each get our own personal streams on. I don't mind doing this on a drawing table. I think it'll be a lot of fun. But if we want to do this a little bit more regularly, I think it'll be good to actually do it on our own personal channels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no J-Rap, it's not for.
Oh dear.
But yes, that. But hopefully you guys in the chat also enjoyed this as well, and let us know if you have, and if there's enough of a demand, I suppose. We'll be doing this every once in a while, probably. And it's been great fun having you all join into something that we didn't anticipate as well. Oh, fantastic. I think some people seem to be interested in seeing more of this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, this
Well, let
is
me
just
actually
hilarious.
do a lineup of all of my designs as well. But yeah,
Oh
we are
man, the
actually
Eevee is
at
so
the
bug.
end of our stream for today, actually. It's been a whole 2 hours already.
Yeah, it's crazy how time flies when we're having fun.
Yeah. I think it got off a little bit slow, just because, well, like most streams, it tends to take a little
Well, I mean,
just to...
at the beginning we did like a little more serious stuff with talking
Yes.
about art-related things rather than
Oh yeah.
just fucking around with Sonic. So,
Oh yeah, for sure.
so that might be a reason.
So with that said, I will be showing the social media links for one moment.
We still accuse Jourdan for using breath.
Jourdan,
I certainly do. How'd you get it so
You're a
accurate?
cheater, man.
Hey, don't hate me, man.
No hate, please.
Just that.
Stop bullying.
Just just played a lot of Pokemon games. Alright, so we are finally at the end of the episode, and thank you so much guys for taking part of it. Just chatting with us, asking questions, and sending in your own horrific adaptations of these famous video games
Yes.
characters.
Oh, that's great.
And I will be showing the social media links as well. I think it's already
On
showing,
Prism,
right?
switch it so on Prism, it's the one that's...
Is it already showing?
Full
Yes,
screen.
it is. I think it's been cycling around for a while now.
Yeah,
So
just full screen it on Prism.
On what, sorry?
Prism. Because it's showing 3 screens at the moment.
Ah, right. No, I think it's fine. So if you guys want to watch
Okay, cool.
future streams live, be sure to follow our Twitch. And we will be doing different types of episodes as well. Outside of these kinds of more sillier ones as well, from interviews. So if that seems like your kind of thing, do give us a follow. And if you want to keep updated with future information, be sure to follow our Instagram and Facebook as well. And of course, if you want to watch previous episodes, do follow us on our YouTube channel as well. And of course, not to mention, if you want to watch Axel and Thomas's personal streams, the links are also being shown on the screen right now. And be sure to follow their Instagram and Artstation if you haven't as well, for more amazing artwork.
Yes, that'd be amazing.
Well, yeah, thank you so much, guys, for for making it for today's stream. I realize it's a little bit short notice, but it's been a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
indeed. It was really, really
that's
fun.
excellent.
We should do it again sometime soon.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, and we actually have a total like
Wow!
2 viewers.
Now everyone is joining. Damn it!
Yeah, near the end.
Hey guys, I'm gonna go stream personally on my own.
Yes.
You can come and follow me there if you want.
Same with me, guys. Haha.
Why don't you guys just drop a link to your personal channels as well into the Twitch chat so people can directly follow you.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I put them up
Yeah,
earlier
but we
as well,
can do it
you can do it
again as well, so no one misses them.
So yes, give them a follow, and we will see you again next time at the next drawing table. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Yes, thanks guys for sticking around.
Bye.